Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Alrighty. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Sun Up Talk Time. I'm your host, Ro Jogan, and you're watching Disney Channel. I'm kidding. Here on episode 10, we've got a very special guest here. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes, Ralph, we can hear you. How's everything going? It's going pretty good, I can't complain. Got back a few weeks ago. I've been recovering nice. Back to school. It's been good. All right, that's good. It's good. We've got some questions here. If you're willing to answer them. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. All right. So, why do you feel it was your responsibility to take charge of the group? You were a big leader in your time on the island. Especially towards the beginning of your perils, and especially towards the younger children. You and Piggy kind of acted as the group's role models. So why do you feel like you did that? Well, honestly, I think that it came down to the people that were on the island. I think that as one of the oldest, it was my responsibility to care for those younger than me. And honestly, I feel like Jack, you know Jack, right? Yeah, I feel like Jack honestly felt the same, just kind of in a different way. I was more focused on kind of getting everyone home, getting everyone off the island, and I think, in a way, he too was kind of focused on the group survival, but just more in terms of food and just kind of keeping everyone happy, no matter what the cost was. I think that had the island been full of much older kids, or more people like Jack, I don't think I probably would have stepped up to the role. And especially if Piggy hadn't been there, and if there weren't little ones, I don't think I really would have had the need to step into the role. You know what I mean? I feel like it was kind of the Litlands and Piggies, kind of not cries for help, but yeah, I get you. I get what you mean. Yeah, it's like, I think that kind of their helplessness, it kind of made me like want to make sure everyone was okay. You know what I mean? I don't know, but all right, yeah, no, it makes sense. Now, what were your leading us on to Simon, your friend Simon, and his tragic death? What do you think about your friend Piggy, which you mentions, denial of blame to the death of Simon? Well, I personally think, honestly, that it's more Jack than Piggy. I think that part of the reason that Jack's whole operation worked so well is because he was kind of able to detach himself from the actions and atrocities that he committed. You saw how, he was with the rest of us on the boat ride home. He was just as upset, just as sad, crying as the rest of us. And I think that the island as a whole kind of drove us, and then Jack especially, to kind of act the way that he did. But I think it took the special kind of it took a special kind of person in the form of Jack to kind of take that influence from the island and kind of how it shaped us and really just take it to the next level, with the way he acted, and the things he did to Piggy, me, and Simon. Piggy was a good person. I don't think he consciously would have done the things that he did, and I think that his denial of Simon just kind of shows the influence that the island had on the whole group. It kind of shows the animal instincts that it drove out on all of us, including Jack. But I think that Jack, too, his influence and kind of the power that he had, led him to kind of have a sort of God complex in his head, which completely detached himself from the actions he was committing. I agree, I do. I think that the island brought something out in you boys, almost like dogs. It reminded me of a movie I saw recently. Have you watched Despicable Me 2, Ralph? No, I can't say that I have. Well, the main character's friend, and kind of the father figure of him, gets influenced by the main villain to work for him, and eventually he betrays the main character. in the end, the main character's friend, regrets doing the things that he did, but he kind of was influenced to do him by the main villain. He kind of felt like, not that he had to, but that he should, or that it was kind of okay to, and he kind of, because he was the inventor, right? So he, kind of like Jack, with the killings of Piggy and Simon, and the friend of the main character, in this movie, his name is Dr. Nefario. Dr. Nefario's inventions, that's kind of what he was doing. He detached himself from his inventions and how they were being used by the main villain. I think kind of the same way that Jack detached himself from the atrocities that he was committing. Yeah, exactly. I think you get it. I think you get it. In the time of need, kind of everyone on the island, including the Litlands and Jack, honestly, wanted someone to lean on, and someone who was willing to give people what they wanted or felt like they wanted. And I tried to do that, but I couldn't do it to the same extent as Jack. And I think that it's when people let that influence of the island and of people like Jack control them, that things like Simon's death and the beating of the young boy in the hunting game, that's when things like that happen. Alright, so moving on, you kind of brought this up earlier, but how do you feel like your leadership would have been different if the boys were older? Well, I think that if the boys were older, I wouldn't have had much of a motivation to lead in the first place, kind of like what I said before. Part of what led me to change was seeing Piggy on the beach and seeing the Litlands, scared and alone. And had the boys been older and more independent, I don't think I would have been compelled to lead as much or to such an extent. I think it was the same for Jack overall. I think that with the choir boys that he already knew, he felt powerful. And, generally when people have power, like, they want to extend it. They want to make it, they want to have more of it. And I think that had the choir boys been older, had Jack not already had that sense of control over them, I don't think he would have led. And if he wouldn't have led, who knows if I would have, if I would have felt like I had to, or if maybe I, would have led better, led more, having more control over the Litlands. I think, too, the absence of parents, kind of the influence adults have on kids, with kind of, like, being told what to do, rules and stuff. I think that when all of us were on the island, kind of the absence of that influence and kind of control and almost like the little angel on your shoulder, that being gone, it kind of led to the Litlands playing and not working. And I think that Jack influenced them in just the right way, where he kind of made what was work also play. He made working fun, just at the cost of, people's lives. And so I think that had Jack been younger, had the choir boys been older, that same thing probably would have happened, to some extent. I don't think that Jack being gone would have completely negated the animal instincts that the boys faced. Alright, so moving on. How did Piggy's lack of rationality after his death lead to your situation of being hunted by Jack? Well, Piggy was definitely the most rational and intellectual one of the two of us, but I think that it wouldn't really have mattered if he was with us or gone, honestly. I think that the situation we were in wasn't really a result of Piggy's death. Piggy was just... I mean, he didn't influence Roger to do what he did, His death wasn't the result of him poking fun at Roger or anything like that. I think that Roger killing Piggy... And what's funny, too, and what I was kind of thinking about, is that Roger wasn't ordered to do it. There's no way of knowing, really, but it didn't seem like Jack ordered Roger to, murder my friend. It kind of seems like it was more the intensity of it all. Kind of the pressure that everyone felt in that moment that kind of led Roger to do what he did. I think it was kind of Jack's overall, like, madness and insanity, honestly everyone's insanity on the island, that was just too much of a force on Roger to do what he did. And I think that Jack definitely holds a lot of the blame to his death, but I think that it was also again, it was just the island. Like, the island as a whole, kind of mass psychosis amongst all of us, led everyone to do what they did, and Jack was basically just a catalyst of the island's feelings. Yeah, I agree. I think overall, it seems like things would have been a lot different if some of the people you were with acted differently. It seems that, it's not just the people you meet on the island that shaped you, but it was kind of the actions that they committed and kind of how their actions were influenced by the island and how your actions and everyone's actions were influenced by those touched by the island first. And, they kind of like rub off of you. Yeah, I agree. I think that if me, Piggy, or Jack had been completely alone on the island, we would have probably been a lot more friendly. I think it was kind of our mild grievances and annoyances with each other that really fueled what was up with the island and what, like, the island was doing to us, which kind of led us to act the way we did. All right. Well, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. Thanks for answering all these questions. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. See you later. Bye.